Hello there. I'm going to be going over the run that I used to clear 224 here. And I'll talk a little bit more about the choice of units, why, and what possible alternatives there are after the run. We're going to start with dropping Reggie over here on the left, Brokkir on the right. Drop our Sadie.
See if they can resist my charms.
And drop in our Ferssi back here. Drop in Aylin. And we have our trifecta of healers here, who will make sure that we don't die. Now, as the Golem's Shriek is charging up here, right at the end, pop Sadie, and pop a Ferssi while we're at it. And as soon as we hit 17 cost, drop in our Ardea. Now we can fast forward. And at the very end of this Earthshake, and this is going to be the rotation throughout the fight. At the end of that Earthshake, you're going to pop Aylin. And for the very first here, it's a bit more complicated. You kind of have to tank through this first one. One thing that can help is popping Brokkir to make sure that he doesn't take away any heals from the other units. And as soon as you can, you pop Elowyn ultimate. Golem's Shriek is coming up, and it's tight rage regen wise with Sadie, but you pop Sadie, you pop Reggie, and everyone normally survives. And then we can fast forward again. And we go back to, we're basically going to do this cycle for the entire fight. Get to the end of the Earthshake cast, pop Aylin. And you need to pay attention to the rocks a bit. So they're going to send in their projectiles. Aylin's going to take hits. It's not super critical right now, but it will be at this next hit that they will send off. Pop Aylin and drop, pop Elowyn and drop the Wood Elf. And right as they prepare to send in more rocks, you can pop a Vortex ultimate. And you can pop a Ferssi ultimate. And doing both of those things ensures that the rocks that are coming in, combined with the Earthshake, don't outright kill your Aylin. Pop Sadie, pop Regulus. Everyone normally survives.
Let's not waste the moonlight.
Feel the flames.
Look to the night sky for guidance. Let's not waste the moonlight.
And once more, we reach the end of this Earthshake here, and we pop Aylin.
Heal them.
A rolling blizzard this way comes.
Mother's
Let them fear the chill on. Stay close. A rolling blizzard this way comes. Do you trust me?
Here it seems relevant to use a Ferssi.
Look to the night sky for
And we're going to also use, actually we're going to hold off on that Brokkir ultimate, because there we go, we're going to cycle out of this Earthshake phase and go into the next one, and it will be better used there. We're going to drop that Wood Elf again, we're going to pop Elowyn ultimate, and we're going to pop Brokkir's ultimate. The Brokkir's ultimate is only really relevant because it makes sure that any damage goes to his shield, and it takes away from the healing needed on, well, on him, really. So Ferssi will never heal him, for example. Vortex either. And since they're targeting him or her again, we're going to pop a Vortex just to make sure that there's some extra heals and shields. Because the survival really is
I was sent here
tight.
to touch your wounds.
Once more, we're going into a Golem's Shriek phase. Pop Sadie, pop Reggie. Normally everyone survives even if it's a bit close. And the boss is now done sending those, pesky Earthshakes at us. We could, at this time, now, if for some reason you have one side that's a bit too swarmed at this point, You could recall Vortex and drop in your secondary tank, so in this case it would be ours. Ours isn't geared and we don't have the use for it, but we could. We are going to use Aylin Ultimate because we still have some rock throwers around here. And we don't want them to screw up the run at this point.
Blessings upon you.
But it's not entirely necessary.
Feel the flames.
And I think really at this point we can just fast forward because everything's dead. We can pop pretty much the ults we want, drop in a Wood Elf, doesn't really matter. At this point we're in the home stretch and there's not much that can actually kill us. We've got 5 healers healing away. There's very little risk that anything does happen to us. If you had geared your Infernal Lord, same thing, right? You could recall a healer and accelerate this somewhat by dropping in the Infernal Lord to do some damage on the boss. We kind of don't really care, because we're just doing this for the sake of it, demonstrating the actual strategy, not the tiny details at the end. I did, out of curiosity, try to speedrun this with a Praetus, and with Power of Dominance, of course, but I think I managed to take, since there's a constant spawn of mobs, I managed to take away like 5% of the boss's HP, so there may be a way to do that, but I didn't quite figure it out. Alright, gear-wise, Hars and Twin Fiend have nothing. Brokkir is running an Unshaken Will, Astral Guardian, and a Bastion Ring. Tempered Will should work as well. I'm not sure if you can actually get away with running Guardian at this point. Reggie is running a Tempered Will, Immortal Warrior, and Bastion Ring. He is also not fully skilled. You do need his ultimate to be fully skilled. That is fairly important. You might be able to get away without doing that, but when it was not fully skilled for me, I had units dying on the Shriek. Ardea is running some really good Wicked Vengeance and Sold on Arcana, and a Shattered Hilt. Now, we then go into the interesting part. Sadie is, just running a pile of HP with a little bit of speed gear. Doesn't even have any healing effect. Her main point, she honestly doesn't do much healing, right? All she needs is this level 3 on her ultimate. That is what she genuinely needs. The rest is kind of secondary. But if you do not have this, they will probably die. Your units will probably die during the Shriek. So that needs to be skilled at the very least. And then we have the rest of our healers. Now we have Ferssi running... Surprisingly, he is actually running Invigoration and a Golden Scarab. Thought he was in a tank set, but Aylin is in Unshaken Will, Immortal Warrior, and a Tia's Balm. It is critical that she have enough HP or she will die. You can probably also run a tank set on her, it depends on what gear you have. Elowyn is running, again, a lot of HP, so these are all HP mains. In a Guardian, again, her healing stats are less relevant than her surviving. And finally, for Vortex, it's pretty much the same concept. He's running a Tempered Will and Life Force, and his artifact is just an Epitaph. Regarding replacements, I tried to mess around a bit with using Valk, and it's not helped by the fact that I have an A0 Valk, but it doesn't seem doable as far as I can tell. Maybe you could get away with it if instead of Vortex, say you were running potentially a Diao Chan or a Constance somehow. I'm not sure how you would run a Constance though. So I'm not sure there is a way to make Valk work, and I don't really see who else besides Ardea could cover this role. Because you need someone who... You basically need damage dealers that are in range of Sadie, and that's a fairly limited range. You could potentially, bring Sadie back and have people there. and somehow do it with 2 damage dealers, but then I don't know how you fit enough healers in. So I don't like it, but I think Moonton basically gave us a stage that seems to only be doable with Ardea as damage dealer, as in terms of just stage 24. Stage 23 and 22 you can easily do with just Valk, but 24 is a no-go. And it's kind of the same for Ferssi and Aylin. You could get away with it on the previous stages, but I don't see how to do this on 24 if you're missing one of the 2. And it is somewhat a similar observation for Elowyn, really, because then your ultimates are not up in time. Maybe you can get it done with Hollow, but that would be a very tanky Hollow. But, you know, it is technically possible. Now, tank-wise, you don't necessarily need Regulus. I was saying earlier, right, Hars is normally able to cover this with his A1. And it is possible that you can get away with it just entirely if you're running Gwendolyn and you need neither. Maybe you need neither. So if you placed her correctly, where the hell is she? If you find a way to place her in a manner that she covers the units that aren't covered by Sadie, you can probably use Gwendolyn and her ultimate to place a shield to ensure that they don't die to the Shriek. I'm not sure that this works, but it's an option that might work. And I believe that's mostly it that I can say about Gear Raid 2. I did enjoy it, just because, you know, we're gearing things differently. It felt very weird to gear all the healers in tank gear, but here we are. And it did work. So yeah, that's 224 with the only strat that I can probably manage currently with my roster. So cheers, and you have a nice one.